Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie. I am the senior editor here, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Nick Morris, a senior product manager at AssemblyAI. Nick, thanks very much for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Thanks, Charlie.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you join me today, Nick, and I'm really excited to talk about all the latest happenings going on in the conversational intelligence space with you. And I'd like to start by maybe first considering how crowded this space has become. I mean, you think of CRM vendors, CCaaS vendors, workforce engagement management vendors. There are so many different types of CX tech providers that are now launching conversational intelligence tools and solutions at the moment. So yeah, it'd be great first to hear kind of your take on why do you think this has become such a popular space over the past couple of years?
Yeah, that's a great question, Charlie. And I think it all starts with this is something that customers have always wanted. They've realized that there's a gold mine of information in their frontline conversations, and they want a way to be able to extract that information and use it. And so I think the question for me is why now? So why are all these vendors building solutions in these conversation intelligence solutions now? And so I see two main reasons. The first reason is that the tools to actually build these conversation intelligence solutions have finally gotten good enough, cheap enough, and easy enough to build with. And so to start with, there's two main building blocks with conversation intelligence solutions. There's the AI transcription, which unlocks your voice data, and then there's AI analysis. And so that's actually interpreting your data and making use of it. So let me take you back as recent as 2 years ago to early 2022. On the AI transcription front, you were dealing with transcription that was $2 an hour, pretty expensive, accuracy in the range of 80 to 85%, and then turnaround time. For example, for an hour-long conversation, it took you 5 minutes to get that transcript back. And so just low quality, very expensive, and very slow. Now, the other option for you was to train your own model, but that required a full team of researchers, millions of dollars, and the accuracy was still going to be in that range. So that's AI transcription. On the AI analysis front, this is 2022, and so ChatGPT had not launched. People didn't really work with too many LLM models, and that was still emerging. And so what you had was these older NLP and BERT models that were, again, lower quality. They often took a team of researchers to build, and the quality was just not good enough. And so combining these two, AI transcription and AI analysis, it was just really hard to build conversation intelligence solutions. They were expensive, low quality, and often unusable for the end user. Now, fast forward to today, 2024. Everything has completely changed. On AI transcription, now you have transcription available at 12 cents an hour. That's like a 90% drop from 2 years ago. Incredible. Accuracy of 95%, and then a turnaround time of under 15 seconds for that same hour-long conversation instead of 5 minutes. So just a world of difference on the AI transcription front. Same thing on AI analysis, probably even more so. You have the emergence of LLMs from OpenAI, from Anthropic, that are making analysis cheaper and extremely high quality compared to what we had 2 years ago. And so put that together, you can finally build conversation intelligence solutions that are easy to build, economically viable, profitable, and high quality, so that the end user can actually use it. So that was reason number one, a lot easier to build, and the tools have gotten a lot better to build these conversation intelligence tools. Now, reason number two, a lot more simple, competition. All of your competitors are building conversation intelligence solutions because I realize that their users want this. And so if you're not building this, you're going to lose deals, you're going to see churn. And so just this cycle where you see your competitor building it, and so you need to build something as well.
Yeah, I think there's lots of really great points throughout those two key reasons that you gave there. And it is interesting, just think back 2 years, as you say, and most conversational intelligence solutions were based on these huge NLP, natural language processing models, which took hundreds of hours of engineering. And then, as you said, LLMs came along and they made that kind of ability to extract intent, extract various entities from a transcript so much easier. And just the quality and accessibility, as you mentioned, and the price, more importantly, of solutions such as auto summarizing a conversation, finding out the emotion for a customer, for example, sentiment analysis there's so many possibilities now. It's such an exciting space. And then if you think about some of those use cases across sales, service, and marketing, or perhaps maybe even all three, I don't know from what you're seeing in the market if there's any that's really resonating, especially within customer experience operations at the moment.
Yeah, great question, Charlie. And I think you mentioned a lot of them. There's the sentiment analysis, there's summaries. I would even go broader, and I kind of see these use cases as two main buckets. And so the first bucket is you want to make solutions that make the frontline workers more productive, and then you have another bucket of solutions that are making your managers and your executives more productive. And so at the first bucket, so this is making the frontline workers more productive. These are your salespeople, support people, support agents. And in this, I see two sections of solutions that you can build. So this is during call solutions, and then there's also post-call solutions. And so during call solutions, this is where you're helping them be more productive during the call. And so some things I've seen that are particularly resonating with customers and end users are things like ongoing notes. And so, for example, it could be transcribing during the call and taking notes for you along the way. And this is incredibly helpful for, imagine you're having a 60-minute service call and you want to reference something that happened previously in the conversation. It can help you do that. So you don't have to take your own notes. You can just look back. And another emerging solution I'm seeing is even more advanced than that, which is near-time suggestions. And so, for example, in that same 60-minute service call, let's say by the end, you're wrapping up the call, but you get a suggestion that says, hey, you haven't asked the customer about pricing, or you haven't asked them about this upsell. So it's making them more productive by creating better suggestions for them in real time. Another cool real-time solution I've seen is smart checklists, what I'm calling. And that's, imagine you're a salesperson, you want to hit on the use case, what current vendor they have, pricing expectations. You can have an ongoing smart checklist that will check off, the different categories that you're talking about and making sure that you're hitting on all of them. And so those are the cool ones I'm seeing with the during call use case, which is the ongoing notes, real-time suggestions, smart checklist. Now moving to post-call. Post-call, after the conversation has happened, how can you make frontline workers more productive there? I think the simplest one I've seen is simply just displaying the transcript and making it searchable. Sounds incredibly simple, but I think this is the highest used one, especially from the ones I've seen. I even use it for my own use case. We have a sales conversation intelligence tool, and oftentimes I'll be searching through transcripts that our salespeople are having to find certain keywords and just search a lot of those transcripts. So that's one, just looking through the transcript, displaying the transcript. Some other post-call I've seen are summaries. So just summarizing the conversation, having an email follow-up draft. And so after a conversation, sales person might want to send a quick email. And so you can just have AI generate that quick follow-up draft. And then another one is doing all the work that salespeople, that agents don't have the time or don't want to do. So that's extracting a lot of the information from the transcript, putting it into the CRM, tagging conversations, just making it look clean. So that's frontline workers, making them more productive. That's during call use cases and post call. Now, the second main bucket of use case I mentioned is making managers and executives more productive and efficient. And I think what this boils down to is how do you extract the information for them at an aggregate level and make it useful for them? And so how I view this is looking at the different categories of information that you can provide to executives and managers. And so one that's important, and one for me as a product manager, is customer feedback. And so looking at these conversations, extracting customer feedback and categorizing them to be digestible very quickly. And so for my own use case, I'll look at that same sales tool and it'll tell me, hey, like on this product, there's this type of feedback. On this product, there's another type of feedback. And it just gives me a quick way to see what's happening in the field in real time. Another one interesting use case I'm seeing is coaching. And so this is help, managers of agents, managers of marketers, and help their team be more productive and give them pointers. Previously they had to listen through the entire conversation, and that might have taken, hours of their week. Now you can do it in minutes by just looking at all of their transcripts across, hundreds of conversations and seeing things like talk time. So are they talking too much? Are they talking too little? What questions are they asking? Are they asking good questions? And so you can just make them a lot more effective coaches to be able to coach their team. And then lastly, what I've seen is, with marketing and sales, it really gives them a platform to see what's working versus what's not. Again, like what marketing techniques are working, what marketing techniques could use some tweaking. And so this is all about, again, extracting the information at an aggregate level and giving it to those managers and executive teams to make decisions. And so Those are the two main use cases I'm seeing: helping the frontline worker, and then also helping management.
Yeah, that was a really great answer. Thanks, Nick. Very comprehensive. And I mean, even going back to your first one around kind of the during a call, the notes that are provided to an agent, the fact that you can maybe take that, and if they need to perhaps pass the conversation on to somebody else, they can pass the notes on as well, and then you actually get like an omni-channel customer experience operation. And that's, I mean, for how many years have we been talking about that as sort of kind of the silver bullet of contact centers, and that Gen AI capability in itself makes that omni-channel contact center possible. So that's just one example of so many great examples that you gave there. But we discussed at the beginning of this call just how competitive and crowded this market has become, and a lot of vendors will be thinking, "Oh, I need to add such capabilities to my platforms." I don't know what advice you tend to give those vendors about how they can build these use cases into their platforms as efficiently as possible. I don't know if you could share that with us too.
Yeah. You bring up a great point, Charlie, in that I think a lot of vendors will, listen to what I just said and kind of build out every feature. I think that's the step where you want to start, is trying to figure out what you want to actually build. There's so many options that you can do. There's so many features that are possible now with AI that you really want to focus. And that's the recommendation I give to customers that I talk with is really focusing on the what. Like, what are your customers going to care about? What should you build? And I think that's going to be different for every company. And so it's hard for me to give a blanket statement about what you should build. But I think it starts with the customer conversations and the end user conversations. Given your what your end users are doing, and also your capabilities internally, that's where you really find where you can make that secret sauce around what's going to make your product better with conversation intelligence solutions. And so that's step number one for me, is definitely the what, figuring out what you should build. Step number two is going to be how. So how are you going to build it? And this is doing your research into those two main building blocks I mentioned. So AI transcription and AI analysis. I'm biased. I would say come and build with AssemblyAI, because we do both the transcription and the analysis. But I do realize that every company is different. Every company has different needs for each of those cases. And so all I would say is just go out there and do your due diligence. So look at the AI transcription providers, really figure out like what you're trying to get out of transcription, whether that's cost, whether that's speed, whether that's quality, and see what vendor best fits your needs there. And same thing on AI analysis. I will say AI analysis is probably even more difficult than AI transcription to figure out what you want to choose, just because there's so many models out there now. You have Llama, you have open source, you have Claude, you have OpenAI. And so that one's a little bit more difficult. You might have to spend a little bit more time, a little bit more playing around with a lot of these LLMs. But I think it's important to do that due diligence and figure out, okay, after determining what we want to build, how we're actually going to do it. And then step three is simply the build process. And so this is all your typical product hygiene, building, getting feedback, iterating, building again. And so that's a kind of 3-step process I see, is the what, the how, and then build.
Yeah, that's really great. And also you mentioned earlier too that historically contact centers and sales operations and marketing operations have taken to building these solutions themselves. And that, a lot of our readers are those end users of this technology too. Is it still possible and does it still make sense for end users to consider building such applications themselves? And if so, how should they perhaps approach that process?
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of our customers are those end users that are building their own tools internally. But I would say the first step here, and even before doing anything and building anything, is really examining why you want to build your own solution versus going with a vendor. I think there are some really compelling reasons to do so, but there's also some very compelling reasons not to. In most cases, I see it as an expensive endeavor, something that can distract you from your core product. But I do see some reasons why people are building internally versus going with a vendor. And so some of those examples and the ones that might resonate with your readers are, number one is data security concerns. And so we have insurance companies, for example, that don't feel comfortable sharing their data with an external vendor, and so want to keep their data close to their chest. And so because of that, they're building their own internal tools. The next one is your use case might be really simple. A lot of these vendors, they have a lot of bells and whistles. They're also pretty expensive. So if you just want to build something very simple, there's ways to do that. And now, like building, for example, with assembly is extremely easy. And so you can get something out the door very quickly, very easily. And so if you just need something simple, that's another path you can do. On the flip side of things, I'm also seeing on the other end. And so you want to build something that's even more complex or more custom than what current vendors are addressing right now. And so it's that, okay, like, do you want to build something very simple, very complex? In that case, you might want to build something internally. And then the fourth reason is you just have the scale. You're one of the largest Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, and it just makes sense economically. You have a lot of these custom solutions that you want to build, and so you might just have the scale to want to build this yourself. And so I think once you've concluded that you want to build internally versus externally and go with an external vendor, you'll go through that same build process that I mentioned above with the vendors. It's the what, the how, and the build. But again, I'm going to reiterate, really determining whether you want to build this internally versus externally, even though the tools have gotten extremely easy to build with. Again, there's the maintenance costs, the iterative focus that you have to give to this product might be distracting from your core capabilities.
That was another really great answer, Nick. And actually, one point that you mentioned that really stuck out for me was one reason why an end user might want to do this themselves was in the fact of kind of guarding their data and keeping their data to themselves. And we've seen recently a big contact center AI lawsuit relating to a end user whose contact center AI vendor kind of took their data to train their own models. And then that end user got sued by a customer for not explaining that process. So it will be interesting actually if such lawsuits do gain ground, whether end users might think, oh, I'll need to take a solution like AssemblyAI and build my own tools. So it's an interesting one to follow. And there were 3 other really great reasons that you gave there, but I won't go through them all one by one. And I think maybe obviously I mentioned AssemblyAI there, and you noted how you do both the transcription and the AI analysis, and that kind of differentiates you as a vendor. I don't know what other reasons you might feel that our viewers might be interested in knowing as to why AssemblyAI really stands out as a great partner when building a conversational AI solution.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think I'd start with kind of explaining AssemblyAI for all of you who don't know. So AssemblyAI is an AI speech API platform. And as you mentioned, Charlie, we provide both those main building blocks, the AI transcript and the AI analysis, via an easy-to-use API. And so why build with us? Again, I like lists. So 3 reasons: quality, cost, and then ease of building is why you would want to build with us. So on the first one, on quality, simply put, you want to have the most accurate model out there, and that's something that we provide. And I'm just not saying that. There's a lot of third-party rankings that talk about how accurate we are. And then the second piece is we really focus on the accuracy that we know that conversation intelligence use cases care about. And so that's things like proper nouns, so getting the company names right, getting names right overall, alphanumerics. So those are things like codes, phone numbers, emails. So those are the pieces of information you want to put into your CRM. If those are wrong, none of this is going to work. And so we really put a lot of focus on making those accurate. And then on the AI analysis front, what we do there is we leverage the top LLM models on the market. So things like Claude, 3.5 Sonnet, and to make that accessible and easy to use for our customers. So that's number 1 on quality. Number 2 is cost. As I mentioned previously, cost is a huge component of conversation intelligence. It's a reason why 2 years ago, people weren't building a lot of conversation intelligence tools. Transcription was at $2, but now current day, we provide solutions that are as low as 12 cents an hour. And so we make it very economically viable to build, and we want to keep that with our customers. And so just to give you a kind of quick example of like how low cost has gotten and why we focus so much on cost, you can now transcribe all the episodes of Seinfeld. So that's like 180 episodes, 4,000 minutes for $8 now. Just wild to me how low cost has gotten. And then, so number 3 is just like ease of building. And this is all to translate for you, building something fast and efficiently. And so to start with, again, we provide you with those 2 main building blocks, so you don't have to go to anyone else: transcription, analysis. And then on top of that, we have great support teams. And so put that together, you have a situation, and I've seen this happen in the field, where people sign up for an API on Monday, they finish implementation on Tuesday, and then they'll launch production on Wednesday with us. And so all to say, we accelerate your roadmap. And so my pitch would be, come to us if you want to build the high quality, most profitable conversation intelligence solution out there in the shortest amount of time.
Absolutely. And Graham, what I'll do for everybody watching, I'll leave a link to Assembly's website. You can learn more there in the description box. But it's been a great chat, and it's been really fascinating to learn about all the latest goings on within the conversational intelligence space. So thanks very much for talking to me today, Nick.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks, Charlie.
Absolutely. And also thanks to everybody for watching. Bye for now.